Andrea, how is everybody? I hope you're having a great week. A lot going on.
Yes.
I noticed though this week, and this didn't make the national news. It's so funny how when it's something negative about a patriot, it makes the national news. But our friend Vem Miller, all the charges were dropped against him. So he was the guy that they said was going to try to kill the president or something, the assassination attempt. He had guns in the trunk of his car.
Yeah.
And anyway, he told them they completely dropped the charges. It was just a ploy of the news, and the sheriff poorly handled it. And so I'm not seeing a bunch of coverage. I just saw a little blip. So, guy, good job. Vim, we knew you were honest the entire time. And that's anyway.
Well, and he has $1 million lawsuit now against them because, what people don't realize is Vim wasn't in the rally. He was parking pretty far away. Because if you ever go to these rallies, you park sometimes miles away and have to kind of hike in. It's like a pilgrimage to get into a Trump rally. So he had guns in his car. He actually told them, because if you know Vim, he's very upfront like this. I could even see, being a good friend of his, I could even see him going, oh no, kind of like maybe he forgot they're in the trunk of his car. But you and I talk all the time. We always carry. Right. But, he was very upfront. He said, I do have firearms in the back. Do you want to take them, or should I leave them locked in the car? And again, he wasn't going to be near them. They were going to be locked in his car a long ways away from the rally. He was very upfront and forthcoming with them. They ended up arresting him. But what happened after that, people don't understand. He's pretty prolific. He puts out a lot of content. He deals with a lot of podcasters. Yes. He helps a lot of candidates. He even ran for office in, my state here in Nevada.
Well, he was big. I know him because he worked with us really closely at Frontline Doctors when we were speaking about COVID before it was popular, right?
So he was basically the defamation that came from them classifying him as like the attempted third, shooter, assassin of Trump. The sheriff coming out and just going, oh, I know that's what he was doing. And then what happened to him afterwards, police came to his home where his elderly parents were, kind of scared him, rattled him. And, the damage it did to his name, a lot of people don't realize, what the freedom fighters go through when they get classified that way in the press. And he worked in the press. So it did real damage to him, and it still has been for a long time. So good for him. He's got $1 million lawsuit against him because they should not be able to treat people that way.
That's right. And it wasn't anyway. And the way they treated his parents was what was the worst part about the entire thing. And so Vim has been exonerated, guys. The charges were completely dropped. And I think that's worth mentioning because the news isn't touching it. They sure didn't mind beating him up when they were throwing false charges on him. And now they're not saying a whole lot. And so that attempted assassination was not an attempted assassination, like we said from the beginning. And now they're doing it quietly. Yep. So we'll just be a little bit louder about that and have Vim's back because we know who he is. Yep. And so he's a truth teller. He did have a career making music videos and was in Hollywood. He was behind the camera, but he was very successful. And he walked away from it when COVID happened. And he saw the tyrannical measures, and he gave it all for what was something bigger than himself, like so many have. And so anyway, when those guys are unfairly accused and then they get exonerated, we're going to shout it. So here we are shouting. Way to go,
good job, Vim. Hopefully he wins his lawsuit.
I bet he does. The way they did with his parents is pretty disgusting. He came on this show and talked about it even. And so America Happens, check that out. That's Vim's network. But I also wanted to bring up Massachusetts. And so we have the governor there that proudly, I couldn't believe it, with a bunch of women, just proudly signed this law where you could kill a full-term baby and call it health care. The very first thing I ever protested, I was 9 years old, with a sign on the side of the road that said abortion kills children. That was my first introduction into politics. I was 9 and found out how awful abortion was. And, you know, and it's, abortion's a hill I'm willing to die on. When the Republican Party softened the language and the platform 2 years ago, I argued with everyone I could about it, and I stood as much as was possibly as possible. And I have tried to put resolutions out to bring it back into the platform, and it continue to be stopped. To me, there's a lot of things that I don't touch politically. Even if I agree or don't or disagree, I kind of weigh what's important. This is a hill worth dying on.
Yeah, this is probably my biggest passionate fight. And when people have me engage with their campaigns in any way, consulting or helping them manage their campaigns, they always know that this is one of the best topics to have me speak on. And I'm really good at speaking to the other side on it, because when you really break down the numbers, and I actually this morning posted on my social media, I actually built a bridge between what's going on with the WNBA and our friends that are saying they're trans,
yes,
and saying that they're going to, you know, they already did. They already, you know, signed up to be in the WNBA next year, and it's like this big, you know, what is a woman? I talked about, you know, it's so sick that it's become such a circus, and it's actually unfair to real trans people. And that's where I'm going to lose some conservative folk, but real trans people. But again, this was like less than 1% before it became a psyop. It became a psyop. It became trendy. It became cool. And then all of a sudden it was like less than 1% of people actually identified as trans, which was a mental disorder. Now all these people, it's cool. It's hip. It's like fun. And now we have all these people saying they're trans. And I'm like, this is like less than 1% of society. I don't think any real trans person ever naturally would be fighting to be in the WNBA. This is insane. And what is it showing girls? That we won't stand up for them.
I agree.
We won't fight for them. And we can't even identify what a woman is.
So you and I may differ a little bit on the 1%, but that's okay. It's, to me, I think that, and even the ones that I think it's an attack of the enemy of our souls, seeking to take away the identity that God gave us. Because you can't be who you're called to be, the reason you were put on this earth, if you don't even know who you are. And it's,
well, that 1% is a statistical zero. My point is, when you look at the natural, what we were dealing with before it became a communist psyop and ingrained in our society, what I'm saying is that's statistically zero. So here's my bridge with abortion, where I get people all the time. They say, well, Andrea, we can't get rid of abortion because what about the rapes and the incest and all that kind of stuff? And I say, that's also a less than 1%. If you look at the numbers, it's a 1%, which is a statistical zero. I'm not saying there's no one out there that has that, but what I'm saying is, you could literally get rid of the 99%, which is what's really happening with abortion. That's not in that category. And you can help the people in that category differently. You could get rid of 99% of these killing factories.
Yes.
And you can actually deal with the people who are harmed or are in that segment that you're parading around saying that it's the whole thing. No, 99% of abortions are because you've said it's free, fun, easy, no big deal. And it's actually your right as a woman to be able to kill your baby. But they don't talk about the psychological trauma, the fact that it's a procedure. Who wants their kid to go through a procedure that can hurt them, that kills a life?
Yes. It's not a choice, right? The choice was when you had sex, right? Be a grown-up and be responsible. If you're going to have sex, be responsible for the consequences of that. You don't kill a child because you are irresponsible.
And that's what abortion has become in our society. So you're not talking about protecting the few that are in those very specific bad situations. You're talking
the example they use to justify horrific behavior.
And then now we can't define what a woman is, when before, again, 1% less, very small segment of society had this mental disorder that made them gender confused. We can actually help those people and do what they actually need instead of making it a circus. You've made it a circus. You've made it a clown show. So, and now you've got young female athletes out there going, what society am I living in? You can't even define what a freaking woman is? Like, what the hell?
Before we got on the show today, I told Andrea that I was mad because of some other things going on. And she said, oh, good. I like it when you're mad. I would have to say Andrea goes off when she's mad as well. Andrea, you are just as mad. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. It's demonic. All of it's demonic. And we need to understand this is a spiritual world, a war that we're fighting on a political battleground. And I don't know if you saw, I put it on some of my social media. How about the church be the church and draw the line? How about the lie
We've
that
gone off the rails.
involved in politics is not something that was never a part of anything. As a matter of fact, this country was founded by Judeo-Christian values, and it was founded as a country so you had the freedom to worship God, not so that you could kill babies and call it healthcare. I'm going to move on because I'm just going to get upset. But you mentioned Ennis, right? So our friend Ennis Freedom, he's been on the show. He changed his name legally to Freedom when he became a citizen because he came from communism and he sees how awesome this is. So he is an NBA player. He's I believe it's 4 teams that he's played for. And he's just top of the line. But this week, or it might have been last week, he announced that he would also be available for the WNBA since nobody knows what a woman is. He's not serious, guys. It's just it's.
But the WNBA is seriously in hot water because they had to get all the execs in a room to try to define what a woman is, and it just again it makes me sad for our kids because what women have said is, okay, what are you showing the young women the kind of society they live in where we can't even protect them? What I'm saying is actually protect the vulnerable and actually help society be better. They've created a mockery and a circus out of the people they're trying to celebrate or protect. You've actually created a mockery of it. And it's gone off the rails. It's just a joke now.
I would encourage you to support Ennis, but more than that, learn his story. It's very interesting. He wrote his story in the name of freedom. You can get it on Amazon. We'll put a link on the Substack, and Andrea's probably putting it in the Rumble or the X chat. But you guys, when we have people coming over that have lived in communism, they do things like change their name to freedom, because as messed up as America is, it's still the greatest country on earth. And what a blessing it is to be born here.
Amen.
Speaking of, we also have another group being infiltrated. The Democrat Party is having some issues. They have the Democrat Socialist Party trying to completely take over them. Have you seen this? It's what we've known on the Republican, the conservatives have said it the whole time. They've said, hey, Democrats, your policies are not only anti-God, they're anti-American. You guys are going further and further to the left. Many Democrats had left the party because they said the party left me, I didn't leave them. And now the Democrat Socialists are openly saying we're taking over the party, and there is an internal conflict. Very interesting to see, but we've been trying to tell you guys for a long time, you are being infiltrated on a level from people that hate the country. They hate our ways, and they don't want the freedoms that America stands for. And so it's very interesting. I suggest you look that up. But as we're fighting freedom, and you and I talk about it all the time, we talk about how on Tom's show, on his website, on the Freedom Brigade's website, we give you options to buy from Patriots because the big box stores are killing you. The money, the finance system is messed up. It's set up for you not to win and for the elites only to win. And so we have with us a friend that we've had on before.
Let's talk about how much we hate paying taxes.
I think we had him on tax day last time, didn't we?
I think so.
Joe Lombardi, welcome to the show with Ironheart Financial. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you again, Charity. And
was it tax day last time you were? I think it was. I think
it was.
Brought up money, and I was mad. I'm like,
well, Charity, for like 2 months around tax season, every time you got on, the first thing you said was like, "Why are we doing this? Why am I paying taxes?"
We're slaves, you guys. If you don't know, you're a slave. If you are paying over half your money to the government, you are a slave. And a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't pay over half." Well, I want you to count up what they take out of your check. And then what you pay them again at the end of the year, and
sales
then
tax,
what they expect, the
tax.
Sales tax, all the different taxes you pay. They will tax you to breathe air as soon as they can figure that out. When you add all that up, over 50% of your money is going to a government. Are you a slave?
And the cost of burritos. Don't even get me started on the cost of burritos. I got 2 teenage boys, and I'm telling you, I got to work 6 jobs to feed these guys.
I believe that.
Yeah, inflation's crazy.
I remember teenage boys would sit down with a big mixing bowl of cereal. And I'm like, the whole box fit in there? I think it did. And they just eat it like it's a little boy. It's unreal.
So Joe is the king of preaching, especially to the freedom fighters and the people on our side on how they can be smarter.
You've saved a lot of people's financial, and you've helped them learn how to beat a system that's set up to hurt them. So tell us a little bit about that, Joe.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really comes down to, you have freedom of where you put your dollars. And if you don't trust the government to give you medical procedures that can hurt you, or, you can't go to church or fly or see your grandparents unless you get this jab, why do you think that they are going to be not doing the same thing with your money? Why do you think there's a 59 and a half year rule on a 401k or an IRA or a SEP simple pension, deferred comp, 457, 403b, even a Roth IRA that's tax free? Well, try touching it before 59 and a half and you'll see that's not true. But when you understand that the system is rigged to take your money, your time is what you trade for dollars. So if they're stealing your dollars, they're stealing your time, and God gave you your time. So it's kind of important to make sure that, if there is ways where with Ironhawk Financial, it's not an if, there is ways. And if you're not doing those to build wealth for your spouse, your children, your business, yourself, and you're doing it in the traditional government way that, the government owns the educational system, the educational system tells you to invest with the government, what are you doing? If you don't know that there's a better way, read my books. I have 3 5-star rated books on Amazon. So when you look at it, this stuff is real. When Trump and Hillary were on stage and Trump's, Hillary's like, Trump, you're a bad orange man. You pay no taxes. And Trump's like, that doesn't make me bad. It makes you smart. I use the same IRS code your donors use and had, 30 years to close it while you've been in, politics, Hillary, and you never did because you're getting paid by lobbyists. And how do I know that? I was and still am a lobbyist for the 7702 plan. I go down to DC. I can show you videos and pictures after 5 o'clock on Friday when they're closed. So when you understand that this is real, you understand that this is legal. If you understand that this is going to save you and your family millions, that's right, millions of dollars of taxes, market losses you won't have because you can't lose, interest you're going to save by buying your own vehicles through your own retirement account. I mean, why don't people do that? Like let's really think about it. If I have a 401k with $1 million in it or even $100,000 in it, why am I not leveraging that money to buy the vehicle and pay myself back? Why am I paying Ford of America 12.99%? So on a $70,000 truck, I'm going to pay them $53,000 in interest over 72 months. So these are the things that people don't look at. You know what they do look at? The monthly bill. Oh, it's only $1,100 a month, so that's fine. It's like times 72 is 83 grand for a $45,000 car.
Yeah.
Because people don't math. Because our educational system taught us the quadratic formula, which how many times have we used that in our lives? I think that would be 0. But they don't teach us how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach us about present value of money. They don't teach us about taxation. They don't teach us about LLCs or S corps, or to be an entrepreneur, or to critically think, or to own your own business and don't be a slave to a piece of paper known as a corporation. So when you understand what's really going on, what are you doing about it? And that was what my father said. Oh, I didn't know about disability insurance when he fell 3 stories and lost a $25 million construction company. I remember the answering machine. Hey, Joe, this is Bob from Northwestern Mutual. Hey, Carl, hey, Joe, this is Carl from MetLife. We need to meet and get you protected. They're just another insurance policy that's going to take all my money. And he ended up losing millions of dollars. So when you look at things, the programming is the problem. You're not the problem. You're doing the right thing, which is saving for my future, protecting my spouse in case I die, having a long-term care and estate plan to leave the money to my children and grandchildren. Those are all good things. You're just doing it all the wrong way. You're doing it with the government. Wall Street colluded with the government. Late 70s. Yeah. You're talking about 50% of what you put in your 401k is stolen by Wall Street. And if you want to, oh, no, it's not. This guy's lying. 1.5% compounding on the account value, not what you put in, on the account value. So I'm only putting away $15,000 a year. Well, you're 30 and a 401k is worth $3 million. 1.5% of that is 45 grand. That's your first, second, and third year's contribution. They steal from you year 30. Well, what about year 29? Well, that would be 42 grand. That's your fourth, fifth, sixth, and 10 and a half months of your 6th year that they're stealing from you just in year 29 and 30. So you're right. I am lying. It's not 50%. It's way higher than 50% of what you put in. So when you look at it, then you have the government taking all your money. So while you're accumulating it, Wall Street's stealing it all with fees, 12B1 fee, classic share fund fee, money manager fee, and account fee, mutual fund expense fee. And then when you pull the money out, you have federal, state, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security tax. You're just getting nailed with taxes on the way out because it comes to you as income. So, and you're signing up for that and you're handcuffing your money till 59 and a half. Then you're going to pay 10% penalty, which over 50% of Americans do. And then when you pull the money out, when you're older, they have a required minimum distribution, RMD, at 72 and a half, where they force you to take the money out. And if you don't, if you forget, they charge you a 50% penalty that year that you're supposed to take out the money. So if you think that's where you want to be, where they say, bad boy, you can't touch the money till you're 59 and a half, bad little boy, child. And then when you're 72 and a half, they say, you better take the money or we're going to take half of what you were supposed to take. And then Wall Street's going to steal half your money. And then if the market crashes when 08 comes, half your money's gone and you're going to lose 8-9 years of compounding growth to break even again. Because if I lose 50, I have to gain 100% to make nothing. So these are the things that they don't teach you. And you can't use ignorance if you're hearing about this. Fact check me. Use ChatGPT. Use Grok. I can care less. Read my books. This is very important. You only have 5 selves on this planet, Earth, whatever. You have your spiritual self, your mental self, emotional self, physical self, financial self. That's it. There's no other selves. And if you're not doing anything for your 5 selves, who is? If you're not building a future for yourself, who will? And then when something happens, what are you going to do? Oh, GoFundMe. Can a bunch of my community strangers who I don't even like or talk to, can they pay my bills because I'm too, I was too, I don't know, busy to care.
Well, and legacy, no one has any legacy. Like I keep thinking of my kids and my kids' kids and what you want to be. So this isn't just like your life, like you're saying, like what they're taking is your kids' future. And I mean, the fact that we're slaves and then it's like our kids are going to be slaves, because how do we leave a legacy behind for them of anything?
Well, I mean, estate law was when I learned about that in college, I was furious. The government feels entitled to the money you made. It does not automatically go to your children if you don't have things set in place. It's unreal. They do feel entitled. They feel like they own you because you're a slave. We've already covered that. And that you'll be treated as a slave if you don't step up and do something about it and have things in place.
It's so important to make sure that you do every measure you can. If you're a freedom fighter, if you're a patriot, if you're a Christian, what's the most talked about subject in the Bible? Money. And if you're not doing what you need to do to protect that money, now am I telling you to worship money? No, that's the devil. What I'm telling you to do is when God gives you money, you need to organize it, you need to tell it what to do, you need to grow it, and you need to leave it to the people you love, not to a machine that's going to steal it so that they can make bombs, kill innocent people overseas, and use it to traffic children, because the United States is #1 traffic children country in the world. So use those dollars for good, because if you let the government use them, they will use it for evil. And you earned those dollars, and your hard work is being used to hurt a child overseas or kill some adult in Gaza. So you have to understand that it's kind of important. It's like real important, more important than your fantasy football team, more important than adding one more ingredient into your favorite recipe. More important than buying a car to impress people that don't know you or like you.
Joe, one of the things that I've lived through that I didn't expect is actually as I paid off debt, everything got weirder in my life. You sell something, it's like all of a sudden, if I don't have interest, if I'm not paying off a car loan, if I don't have a large mortgage, you don't get any high fives for paying things off because they want you to be paying that interest. It's like I started realizing, okay, I was high-fiving myself that my debt was going down, but then my credit score is dumping and I don't look good on paper. They don't like me to be free and clear because they want me to be paying interest on everything. They want to be tracking my every move, and they want me to be paying interest on everything. And if I'm not paying interest on things, then I can't even, get good credit or buy again, because I look like I don't exist unless I have $100,000 in debt that I'm paying, 30% interest on or something. It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Congress came and they were questioning credit card companies, American Express. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it was, I see the highlights on social media. It was pretty interesting. And these guys' profit margins are like in the 50, 60 per, I mean, like 600%, excuse me. So when you look at a healthy business, profit margins, what, 10 to maybe 30%. These credit card companies are running on 400, 500, 600% profit margins. They don't care about you. It's just all about extracting your ignorance for profit.
And what's the average American credit card debt now? It's outrageous.
It's close to 100,000. I mean, look at our debt. Our country, we owe $40 trillion. Every working American owes $380,000 to the Federal Reserve to get out of debt right now, which, we don't have 380,000 each lying around in cash.
No.
So when you look at it, we are in a debt system. And if you're not doing anything to get yourself out of it, and if you're contributing to that debt system, just know you're enslaving your future self to enrich your present self. And for what you get today is going to cost you $10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's what the biggest scam is when you think of accountants. And you go to your accountant and you say, hey, how do I save money today? Well, the biggest lie perpetrated in the culture of America in the financial realm to its own citizens is that an IRA or a 401k saves you money. You'll hear that verbatim. That is a bold-faced lie. I watch an NFL football game. I'm sure many people have that listen. There's a coin toss. If I don't win the coin toss and I have to receive in the second half, I have to defer to the second half. Do I still have to receive the ball? Well, yeah, I have to do it second half. So what did you save? I saved not having to do it the first half. No, that's not how that works. The word savings and the word deferral are not synonymous. So when you look at it, you're being lied to by a government that programmed that accountant through the educational system to teach them to put their clients with dollars into the government. So when you understand that, you have to break free because, Joe, I put away, $200,000 in my life and it's worth $1 million. It's like, and what did you save in taxes? Oh, I got write-offs of like $30,000. Okay, well now you're going to end up paying $400,000 in retirement, so you could save 30 grand.
So what do people do? We've got our listeners, and these are patriots, right? People that watch this show are patriots. They're awake. They don't trust the government. What can they do?
It comes down to using the IRS code book against the government. What do I mean by that? Well, if I were to ask, which I've done, I've asked thousands of people, what is a 401k? And they all like, oh, it's this thing the company comes up with that no, that's what it does. What is it? Nobody knows. Nobody has any clue. No, when I tell you nobody knows what a 401k. Not what it does, right? Oh, I put in money, employer matches me, it grows, I could lose money, I'm feed, and I hopefully there's enough left. No, that's what it does. What is a 401k? It's a IRS code 401k. IRS code 403B, IRS code 457, IRS code 529, college savings plan. Those are codes. Those codes are very high on the code book, between code 400 and 500. The code that you can legally use, again, that's in the code book, that you can legally use against the IRS is IRS code section 7,702, called a 7702 plan. With that plan, which millionaires, billionaires do, you're talking about over $10 billion industry. Just that, another $500 billion industry, and the other strategy that goes to it with fixed index annuities. When you understand the 7702 plan legally allows you to build something that you can look online, a rich person's Roth IRA. You don't have to be rich. It's just what the rich do. But you get to invest, if you have like $500 a month, you get the same returns as people that put in $5 million a month. So because you're in a block, in the same investment, same option contract block with them. So it doesn't matter. Like people think like, oh, Joe, if I only had more money. Well, if that was true, people won the lottery would never go broke, let alone bankrupt. People win $100 million and then they didn't just spend $100 million, because that means they went broke. They went bankrupt. That means they spent $100 million plus another $10 million, and they have nothing. They're worth -10. Hence, they had to go bankrupt. So when you understand that it's not about the amount of money, that's another falsity and a lie in our financial culture is, oh, you only make $100,000 a year, you shouldn't be saving money. You only make $70,000 a year, you shouldn't be saving money. You could barely live on $60,000. You shouldn't be saving money. It's like every dollar, you heard in the Bible the word tithing, right? I tithe my money to a church. Well, guess what? You be the church. Tithe 10% to you before you tithe it to a church.
I would say tithe it to the church, then tithe it to you, but that's different.
Well, if you have children and a wife, I want to protect and provide as a provider, as a man for my house. And, I love other people, but if I had to choose between other people and my wife and children, I would choose my wife and children. So when you look at it, it comes down to building financial habits, putting those dollars in the proper codes, building these plans properly, because 90% of 7702 plans are built incorrectly. They're built high feed, they're illiquid, the fees go up, they don't have high returns, they're in capped rated funds, they're in C companies instead of A+ companies, they're in stock companies instead of mutual companies. So when you build these plans, I've been building them for 24 years, I've replaced probably 1,000 of my 4,000 plus clients that had very crappy 7702 plans, because you have to make sure you do it correctly, right? I was just on Sarah Westall. I don't know if you know her, but she was like, what's special about you? You're just another advisor. I got one. I have a 7702 plan. Why would I bring you on my show or sponsor you? And then I ended up showing her exactly what I did. And if you listen to our show, 400%, she says 3 times, 400% more in the way I do it than the way most people do it. And it's so vitally important how you structure it. And that's what most people don't know.
For free.
Oh yeah, I've never lost a client $1 in 24 years. I never charged a client $1 in 24 years. I get paid through the investment and insurance companies that I do business with, what's called an FYC, first year commission, out of their marketing fund. So it doesn't even come out of like my clients' accounts. So when you look at it, it's free, right? You're not paying Fidelity or Wells Fargo or Fisher or some of these investment advisors 1 to 2 points a year, whether they make or lose you money, you're paying that. Yeah. It's cheaper, from a standpoint of cost on the investment. There is cost because there's a underlying life insurance policy that, by the way, everybody should have. I haven't found one good reason why somebody shouldn't have a life insurance policy. That's one of the most selfish things you can do, just as a human, is when you die, be like, let somebody else pay for it. Let me hurt somebody else emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially as well. Mm-hmm. So, it's one of those things, everyone needs it. So the cost, so to say, you need to have, like, it's like, in my opinion, it's better than auto insurance, right? I'm going to insure this hunk of metal with rubber tires for $4,000 to $8,000 a year, but I don't insure me and my income, at the hardest part of my spouse's or child's life, where they lose a parent. Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave them financially crippled. Like, how selfish can you be? Like honestly, like, I'm not even like joking around. Like, how selfish is that? It's one of the most selfish acts you can have. If you have a spouse, if you're single, then you're like, yeah, who cares? I die, whatever. But when you have people that rely on you, and you have people that you're in charge of, like a spouse, a child, a business partners in your business, if you're the sales guy, the other guy's manufacturing girl. So like when something happens to you, if you don't have a plan, right? You fail to plan, your plans to fail. So it's not just selling product, right? Anybody could just sell a life insurance policy. It's about doing a full deep dive on what you have, what's your budget, your assets, your liabilities, your time horizon, your risk tolerance. Do you have life insurance, or do you have death insurance? Because that's the third biggest lie. out of our financial culture is that life insurance is death insurance. Death insurance is only valuable if I die. Life insurance is valuable when I live. Cash, disability up to 1.5 million, long-term care up to 30,000 a month, sue proof, divorce proof, can't lose, lien the money out, free from the Dodd-Frank Act, works as a trust, incontestable in court, non-disclosable on the FAFSA form or secondary form, doesn't disqualify my kids from grants, scholarships, loan trace, student loans, financial aid, legally avoids probate, can't lose if the market goes down legally, has double-digit returns historically, tax-free. So when you compare that to a 401k or IRA and you go over 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it is superior in every single way, as long as it's built properly.
Yeah. And Joe is like one of the coolest guys to talk to. And what I love out of, all these guys that you hear about in the financial world is like, he'll be on the other end of the phone. If someone like goes to learn with Hawk right now, they're going to talk to Joe. I love that, and one thing that I always talk about, in our space and charity, and I've been, everyone's been waiting for those, the storm is coming, the days of darkness, the great reset. And I'm kind of exhausted with the white hat talk, but I think all of that is waking people up, just like COVID woke people up to a government that was being tyrannical and overreaching, right? We're waking up to the fact that like everything you just said, we're enslaved through the corrupt financial system. And what you speak to is just more common sense than I hear from anyone else in this world. And I just, to everyone who's like waiting for the great reset or Nasara Gasara, I'm like, listen, instead of sitting there and waiting for the white hats to save you or for someone to wipe your debt for you, why don't you get active, get off your ass, talk to Joe. And that way you're not sitting here terrified of the bottom to fall out. You can actually fix this and create your own great reset now by just being smarter.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to caring. You know, unfortunately, most people, oh, Joe, I'm just so busy. It's just not a priority until you're in a car accident, until there's a diagnosis, until, God forbid, you pass, until you realize time goes by so fast. I just turned 42. That's 21 times 2. And I remember when I was 21, like 5 years ago, and I'm like,
exactly.
So, like, time, it's like, so
the government's not going to save us. They're not going to tax us less. They're not going to give us our money back. They're not going to wash your credit away. I know y'all are sitting there praying for that, but what I love about what you're talking to is it's giving people actionable items to actually take control the way that they want to take control over their finances.
Yeah, I mean, it's having a budget. I have clients who make $83,000 a year combined as a couple, and their net worth is $2.6 million. Wow. I have clients who make over $1 million a year gross as a husband and wife, and their net worth is negative.
Yeah.
Because when you read in the Bible, right, money has to do, believe it or not, money's an energy, right? Because as of right now, money's just either a piece of paper. It's not even a piece of paper. It's some zeros on my phone. That's all money is right now, because it's like, it goes from this account to that account, right? Like, we don't even touch the money anymore. It's not even a tangible thing. Can you get cash? Or can I have gold and silver and hug it and hold it and kiss it? But it's not going to save you. It's not. I'm just letting you know. So when you look at it, right, money is an emotion. It's a vibration. It's an energy. It's a frequency. And it has to do with, do I love myself? Because if you love your present self, which unfortunately over 90% of Americans do not love themselves. And when you look at it, do you love yourself? And if you love yourself, guess what? You're going to care about your future self. But if you don't love yourself now, how do you expect to love yourself later and prepare for that later when you can't even prepare for your life now? And it has to do with filling that hole with Yahusha, which is, Jesus's real name. J's weren't invented 2,000 years ago, so I call him by his real name, Yahusha. So when you understand these type of things that are happening, it's a spiritual war, it's a mental war, it's a physical war, it's a financial war, it's a idea war, as you're talking about with gender dysphoria. That what they do is they say abortion is now, oh, that's reproductive health care. No, it's not. That's murder. It's like transgender. That's just expressing my gender. It's like, no, that is a mental disorder. What the enemy does is when you give a dog like medicine, and if you just put the pill in the dog's mouth, they'll just spit it out. So you have to wrap it in cheese and then hide it in the cheese. And then here's your treat. And the dog goes, That's what the government does. That's what the enemy does. That's what the devil does, is he wraps something demonic and evil and then puts something that you can eat or consume around it. And then we're just like, oh, it's what is it? Oh, it's a 401k and it's a government. Okay. And then you just swallowed demonic leeches. You just swallowed Wall Street stealing half your money. You just swallowed the federal and state government stealing half your money. You're going to lose half your money during a correction in the market or a depression, recession. And you tied your money up for decades, and then they force you to take it out, and people can sue it, and it doesn't avoid probate, and it is contestable in court. And every rule benefits the government, not you.
Well, and they don't make you think there's another option. They force feed you this stuff. And a lot of times in all of our fights, I hear from people when they hear me speaking out, Charity speaking out, they go, but there's no other way. I have to take the vaccine or I won't be able to work. We have to say this is okay because, this is the only way to do it. It's like, no, there's another way. That's what you're providing here. That's what I love about your work.
Yeah. Well, that was my second book. There's a better way than a 401k. 5-star rated on Amazon, by the way. So when you understand that these things are real, and you understand there is a legal better way than what you're doing, what's the excuse now? Yeah. And it just comes down to laziness. Yeah. It comes down to they don't want to do the research. It comes down to, well, it's easier to just keep my money in the bank. Well, why is your dollars in the bank? Do you get a charitable write-off that says, oh, you made Bank of America $300,000 this year on your $250,000 you have in there? Did you get like a write-off for that? No. Did they even send you a card? Like, hey, Cindy, you kept $100,000 in the bank. We made $73,000 this year. Thank you. You just helped buy Paul his Lamborghini, and there's a picture of Paul in his Lambo. Like, they don't even do that. At least if I, save children in third world countries, I get a picture of the child I saved. Yeah. They don't even send you a picture of the Lambo you bought for somebody else. But I keep my money in banks. Why?
But you're in a credit union. So
you're same thing. Same thing. Peggy at the credit union. Look, you bought her new coffee maker for $3,000. Like we get no cards. So when you understand it, you don't keep money in banks. Number one. Yeah. Number two is you don't go into debt. And if you are in debt, you leverage a safe, low interest debt like a revolving line, home equity line of credit. I have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki, and there is honestly something called good debt. And there is ways to leverage OPM, other people's money, but it's not through a credit card. And it's not letting the bank leverage your money where they're making 20, 30% and you're making nothing. Oh no, I'm making 1.6 in the savings account. I pay tax on it. And it's like 90 basis points while they're making 30%. So when you look at it, these strategies are real. You're talking about, again, a $500 billion industry. And if the average American hasn't been programmed, they don't know about it. Because when was the last time you saw a financial commercial? Let me think, right? I watched Super Bowl.
They don't want you to know this stuff.
I saw Super Bowl cigarette commercials, alcohol commercials, dick pill commercials. Yeah. I saw medication commercials like, hey, take this, and it'll cause explosive diarrhea, bloody stool, and death. And and click, and they'll show like, always a black couple. They're like, and then they're like, could cause death and bloody stools for life. And then people are like, high five. So when
you may be more dangerous than Tom on this show. I'm just saying.
Oh, he's great.
So when you understand reality, right? Why is something funny? Because it's true. Yeah. So when you understand, they legally don't advertise. Number one. Number two, the accountants only tell you defer. Number three, the government just says join that piece of paper and do the 401k, and you're like, okay, and you just don't know. And again, it's not your fault. I'm not here like ha, this person's stupid. They're losing millions of dollars. No, what I'm trying to say is that I understand you don't have this knowledge. It's not your fault. Millionaires and billionaires have what? State planning attorney, tax attorneys, financial planners, insurance advisors, investment agents. They have a whole team of what do you have? I have a TurboTax and Dave Ramsey, buy term, invest the difference. So when you look at it, you don't have the tools that the millionaires and billionaires have. But what I'm telling you is you could, if you wanted to, you could have the tools to take your, pile of what I call dirty dollars, your IRAs and 401ks, put them into fixed index annuities, drip out the money into your clean pool of money, your 7702 plan. And over 10, 20 years, you can clean about 15, well, it depends on the amount. I'm going to say 40, 50% of the value you can clean to tax-free dollars, which is going to save you, depending on the value, millions of dollars in your retirement. So it's so vitally important to take what you've accumulated, even if it's all in dirty dollars, which I'm sure it is, because there's only three legal ways. Three legal ways. I can put $1 in something, have it grow tax-free, and have it come out to me tax-free, the principal and the interest. There's only three. One is municipal bonds. Municipal bonds are inverse with interest rates. As interest rates go up, bond value goes down. So anybody own bonds since 2017? No. I'm talking 60, 70, 83-year-old people that have 100% of their money in tech stock. And I'm like, and they're like, I'm very conservative. And then I look at their statement and I'm like, this is worse than my 16-year-old son's allocations. What the hell, Cindy, or Barbara? Like, what the hell are you doing? And they're not allocated properly, right? And then all their money's taxable. And all their money can lose when the market goes down. And all their money can be stolen through the Dodd-Frank Act 2010 when we go to war, which I hope we don't, but it looks like there will be a time we do. At least they're pushing for it. I hope God prevents it. But when you look at it, everything is structured to take from you, to suck you energy, frequency, vibration. All the news is negative. Everything in this world is negative. It's fear, 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 fear. Attack your nervous system because then you'll react. Right? If you ask 100 people, if you do this, something better will happen in your life. Do you know how many will do that based on a study? 3. If you tell 100 people that, if you do this horrible thing won't happen to you. Do you know how that affected? 77. So both are the same message, but one is given through fear and one is given through value. Well, nobody cares about value, right? They just care about not getting hurt. So that's why so many Americans took the jab, because they were like, "Oh, well, if I take it, I won't be hurt." And then of course you have the senators like, "This cheeseburger, look at that side of fries. Now go get this experimental drug and you'll be fine." I mean, it was disgusting. But when you understand like how things happen and why things happen, you can dissect things. Like that's why in my line of business, I follow the money. Like why did 9/11 happen? Because they needed to shoot a missile at the Pentagon and kill the 40 forensic accountants that were figuring out where $4 trillion was stolen out of the military budget. So they just flew a couple planes to buildings, murdered 3,000 Americans so that they can just find a way to hide $4 trillion. If you don't think they did that, there was 15 million people murdered.
And they also needed to get the Patriot Act, which was already written, completely implemented. So
yes.
They had a couple things there they were trying to get done.
Yeah, and then the
Titanic in the Federal Reserve. Woo!
Oh, that was
1913.
Yeah, the Olympic. They've been murdering us. And it's not just for 100 years. I mean, you go back to Mao, China. I mean, literally the most sadistic murdering group of people on earth is government.
Yes. 500%. Joe, I appreciate you coming on today. You guys, we're on the same page. Joe is an answer. You do have a finance guy. Call learnwithhawk.com. Talk to Joe. It's free, and tell him where you're at. He can tell you, well, here are your options. It's free. You have to be mindful with what you do. As we say, we are at war. We have been infiltrated. And so we have to be purposeful with our time, and we have to be purposeful with our money. If we're not going to continue to be enslaved, we have to be smart and do something about it. Go to freedombrigades.com, join the Freedom Brigades if you're not already there, and go to learnwithhawk.com and talk.
Tell them Freedom Brigade sent you. Yeah.
Yes, tell him we sent you.
Yeah.
He'll be a little nicer to you.
And then if you save millions of dollars, let's all go on a vacation or something. Call us up.
I love it.
We'll high five.
All right. You guys, thank you so much. We will see you next week.
God bless.
Take care.
Bye.